Hello, welcome to Splatter Sessions, episode 3. I'm making nesting dolls. Let's get into it.
Alright, so painting nesting dolls. Not a whole lot to say about it other than just the fact that they're made of wood. I like painting on wood. It's definitely different than painting on a canvas. Certainly different than painting on paper. It's a lot more like painting on paper because paper is made of wood. That's a fact. It's science. But yeah, if you've never painted on wood, you can definitely expect your paints to behave differently. The wood will soak up the paint a lot quicker. It dries a lot faster, which is neat because you can work quicker with it. I like the texture of it. I enjoy painting on wood. It's nice to break away from canvases and paper sometimes. It's just it's a different experience for sure. Fine lines on wood, I would definitely say make sure to get a good base coat of paint on the raw wood for sure, because your brushes will not want to drag across that super absorbent rough wooden texture. But yeah, like I said, there's really not a whole lot to talk about with painting on wood. It's it's the same concept for the most part as painting on a canvas. Just expect your paint to dry faster. I think I started doing the nesting dolls back in 2012, and they were an instant hit. Like, that was one of the first things that I had ever created that just was an instant bestseller for me. You know, I would post these guys up on eBay and Facebook and have bids or have them sold in 10 minutes. So that was a good feeling. There's definitely a market for them. They're interesting. You don't see a whole lot of them. And that's one of the things about this, this industry is finding your niche, seeing what works best for you. People have asked me recently why I don't do more of these, and honestly, it's just a weird surface to paint on. I couldn't do it all the time. They're kind of a special little treat to work on when I'm in the mood. But I think I'm going to get into it a little bit more. People like them. I don't want to get to the point where I'm slinging them out really quick and they're not a decent quality. So, I'll probably do 10 of these a year. Yeah, maybe 15. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. No, the real point of this video was actually answering questions that I've been asked on social media. A lot of the ones that I get asked a lot. We'll start with an interesting one that I got the other day, which is kind of funny. Do you think nesting dolls are representative of the internal struggle of the human psyche to portray themselves as a false image while attempting to conceal the tiny true self within? Man, they're just dolls. They're toys. No, that's the way I see them. I like them. I think they're neat. I've always thought nesting dolls were neat, but the reason that this question is interesting was actually I was contacted by somebody who was pitching the idea of doing multiple series of these representing mental health disorders, and she thought that it would be a cool idea for them to use them as kind of a coping thing. Pulling out, like, one would be depression, anxiety, and the stuff that the people would be dealing with, and taking them apart, putting them together in different ways, leaving certain ones out. I thought that was neat. I've got those ideas written down, and I'm entertaining the idea. I do think that's a neat idea. I like the idea of if I can help people, um, then I would absolutely love to do that. Moving on. Who are artists, music, books, movies, people, places, things, etc., that inspire you and that you love? As far as art and artists, there are so many. There are so many artists. I think definitely the ones that inspired me the most. The first one that uh, really inspired me was Alex Pardee. I remember I had just started painting. I had been painting for about a year, and I remember I picked up In Flames' album, A Sense of Purpose, and I saw the album cover on it was insane, and I just thought to myself like that. The line work was what caught my eye, and I was really never interested in line work until I saw that album. And so I looked up Alex Pardee and I was like, oh my gosh, this is some next level stuff. And, I started focusing on doing a lot of line work and, practiced it and practiced it and practiced it and practiced it. And I mean, I was young, I wasn't selling at the time. I mean, I had basically copied concepts of Alex Pardee just to practice, doing the line work and the way that he does color and all the drips and stuff like that. Um, but a while later, I moved on, and on MySpace, I remember discovering Gus Fink, and it's a stark difference between styles. But I remember seeing Gus Fink and like Justin Airney, I think that's how you pronounce his name, and I was wowed by that just because it was such chaos, just really grungy colors, and line work was there but different than Alex Party's. And I was like, I'm gonna try mixing the two styles and seeing what I can come up with. And that's probably when things kind of started taking off a little bit. I started getting work at that point, working for bands. There's just so many artists that have inspired me. So Alex Pardee, Gus Fink, Nicholas Caesar, Justin Airney, Aronimus Bosch, Picasso. I remember discovering Aronimus Bosch whenever I was a kid, and I was just like, "What is this?" Just blew my mind. But John Cebollero, John Crickfalusi, the guy who did Ren and Stimpy, I love his artwork. I love those illustrations. Yeah, that's just to name a few. There's so many others. There's some killer artists out there right now, and I appreciate all their work. Okay, so real quick, breaking away from questions, the stuff that I'm using right now on this nesting doll is called wood icing. It's like a lacquer that you put under, you put like a coat of paint on, and then you'll put uh, this lacquer on it and let it dry, and then after a while, you'll put another coat of paint of a different color, obviously, over that lacquer. And as that paint dries, it ages and cracks it, and I love it. It's awesome for working on wood. It works on canvas too, not as well as wood, but it certainly makes for interesting textures. Uh, Here in a minute, it'll slow up and let you see exactly how much it changes the texture of the wood. But yeah, it is. It's a lot of fun. Uh, Skateboards. I throw this on skateboards, and it makes it look just awesome. Okay, back to questions. Music. What kind of music inspires me? Music. Okay, so I used to be a huge metalhead, and not so much anymore. I think I'm getting old. Just it doesn't do what it used to do for me. Maybe I'm not as angry, but I still listen to In Flames, old and new. Between the Buried and Me is probably my favorite band of all time. They're like the Pink Floyd of our age. I mean, they I could listen to Between the Buried and Me all day, every day. Primus. There's Christopher Herb's Best for hip hop, Apollo Sun, Aesop Rock. But honestly, whenever I paint, and see, this is what I was talking about, the crackled thing looks cool. I like it. Sorry. Right now, I'm actually on a huge jazz kick. I've been listening to a lot of Coltrane, Stanley Clarke, Barney Kessel, the old guys. It transports me to a different era, and I love it. I love jazz. As people that inspire me, just genuine, good-hearted people. People that go out of their way to be kind and do good. There's so much darkness in the world right now. It makes me happy to see genuine kindness and people trying to make a difference even though they don't have to. That inspires me. That's what I like to see. Places that inspire me. Colorado and Wyoming for sure. The woods in general, I love hiking, and being out in nature is just fantastic. Things that I hate, there's not many of them, but one thing, I cannot stand doing Tim Burton style commission pieces. And I think it's because I was asked so much when I started out, and I've done so many. But if you ask me to do a Tim Burton piece, I'll do it, but I'm going to hate every second of it. I promise you that. As far as movies that inspire me, I would have to say that the first movies that ever really inspired me were the Evil Dead trilogy, like the OG Evil Dead. It was just so hands-on and gritty. Those movies were art, and they really got me into film. And they had no budget, and they made this horror movie masterpiece. And I'm not even really into horror movies nowadays, but I still love and appreciate the Evil Dead trilogy. I think that Dumb and Dumber is the funniest movie ever made. Peter Jackson's old stuff like Bad Taste and Meet the Feebles are classics. And the two funniest scenes in film history are the diarrhea scene from Dumb and Dumber and Jim Carrey coming out of the rhino's butt in Ace Ventura When Nature Calls. I still laugh every time I see that. And Tim and Eric are geniuses. I don't care what anyone says. That's like comedy in its purest, stupidest form. How do you come up with your ideas? I don't know. They just happen. I work a day job right now, and I'll be sitting in one place pricing things for hours on end, and I just kind of let my brain go wild. Um, that's pretty much all there is to that. Just a lot of the times I just start by splattering paint on paper, and then whatever happens happens. Not a huge plan that goes into it most of the time, unless I'm working on commissions, and then I gotta plan stuff. Anyway, it looks like the nesting dolls are done. I think collectively this took me about 2.5 hours after I put the base coat on. That's about right. I think my first set that I did took me like, gosh, it was like a day to do them, but no, I knock them out about 3 hours. You can do it too. I suggest trying it. If not nesting dolls, get something made of wood, something that's not flat, something that's really odd to work on. It'll help increase your skill level, I think. Anyway, thanks for watching. Go pick these things up on myrmediums.com. And remember that up until December 15th, 10% of all of our sales are going to buy toys for underprivileged kids for Christmas. So buy some art and do some good. Thanks for watching. You guys have a wonderful day.
Dang.